Hey guys, this is Adam and Kyle at ProjectionHub, and we are back with another edition of SBA Burning Questions. And just as a quick reminder, here at ProjectionHub, we help people do financial projections and business planning and find and secure SBA financing. Both Adam and I come from a background of SBA lending, and specifically Adam, executive director of a SBA lender for a long time. So I'm going to ask him kind of a common or frequently asked question for an SBA loan, and we're going to get his take and have some dialogue on that. So today's question, is it best to apply for an SBA loan with your home bank or consider applying somewhere else?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on who your home bank is, but often what I like to say is like the best place to probably keep your money, like the best place to keep deposits safe and the best technology are, probably like the big banks, right? I think of Chase or I think of Bank of America. Those banks are probably a great place to keep your money safe and probably one of the worst places to try to get approved for a loan. They're just, because they're the biggest, because they're, they have the ability to be really picky and choosy about who they lend to. And so, they're lending to multinational corporations and state governments. And so as a small business owner, it's just tough to get approved. So oftentimes I would, you can always ask, you can always try, but I do think I wouldn't put all your eggs in the big bank basket to start with. So, SBA publicly releases all the SBA loan data. And so you can actually see which lenders are making the most loans. And we built a little tool to help people kind of sort and filter that by state and industry and type of business. And so that can be really helpful. And you'll probably notice that the bigger banks are, for the most part, aren't showing up on that list usually.
Yeah, that's a great point. We'll link that free tool. Like Adam said, you'll be able to say, I'm in Indiana, I'm trying to start a business and HVAC, and you'll see who are the top who made the most loans in those specific criteria. So it kind of gives you an idea of maybe I should talk to that person because they did the most. So I think there's a few caveats to this question, and it would be, for example, sometimes people don't even realize that there's some confusion on SBA and how it's facilitated and who facilitates it. So sometimes when people think do I go apply for an SBA loan with the government or on the SBA website or something like that? And really SBAs, all those programs are facilitated through intermediaries, different lenders, which most of them are banks. So pretty much any bank you go to likely can do an SBA loan. So I don't think people necessarily realize that, but they're also going through their own little bank process and their own application process and their own rules. So it's not SBA does have some extra set of rules and thresholds that things need to meet. But as far as, the bank still uses their internal policy on that. So if you go to the biggest, most strict banks, they're applying that scrutiny to your application. So, if you find a credit union that specializes in construction loans for really small businesses, even if that's 4 states away from you, you might have a lot better chance of getting approved there. So I think it's just counterintuitive sometimes because people are hey, I've had my deposits in this bank for 25 years in my hometown. They're probably the most likely to approve me. And that's not their fault for saying no. They just might have no expertise in your type of industry. They may not have a risk appetite for acquisitions or startups for sure. It's just, there's different nuances to that. So I think sometimes people can get frustrated. They're these people have known me forever. Why can't you give me a loan? And the reality is you may not want to work with them on your type of loan because they may not have comfort in that space or a specialty in that. So it's better to look for the person who does know what they're doing in that type of industry.
And one other thing I will say is that if you're a really, really strong candidate for a loan, then going to the big banks is worth doing because they're going to give you the lowest rate and the best terms. Every once in a while I'll come across a client who I got approved at, big bank XYZ. And I'm wow, that was a great interest rate in comparison to what I'm used to seeing. So if you think you have a chance, I just don't, just don't put all your eggs in that basket or assume that's going to happen or be disappointed when you get a decline from your bank. So
right. I think another thing worth mentioning too is like if you're starting a business, especially even if you own one and you're expanding or buying a business, like I know personally, if I was in that situation, I was trying to get an SBA loan, I would want to think like, okay, who I want to go to one place and I want to apply and I want to get it approved. And like, it feels like do or die. I'm not saying go out there and apply at 25 different banks, but I think your assumption should be you might need to have conversations with multiple lenders to like find one that is interested or is a good fit for you. And so if you have the right expectations that your home bank likely won't be the one that approves you, I certainly don't think it hurts to have that first conversation there, right? Like if you want to get practice having a conversation, you might as well do it with a bank you're comfortable with, or maybe if you know the manager there or the business lender there or something like that. That might be a good initial sounding board, and just hear from them like, yeah, we're probably not gonna be able to do this for, ABC reason.
Yep.
There's a couple of good things to do that. One, because you get some good practice. You kind of hear some of the holes that get poked in your application a little bit. And two, we won't get too far into the weeds on this, but there are some other SBA loan programs out there like microloan programs, community advantage loan programs that aren't facilitated by banks. They're facilitated by these other organizations. And a lot of times those organizations require you to be declined by the bank first. So you can knock out a lot of things. You can knock out practice. You can knock out that kind of mandatory decline by talking to your home bank first. So I don't think that that's a bad thing. I just think you should have good expectations that they likely may not be the right fit for you in your type of loan request.
Yep, for sure.
Okay. Well, one other thing, because it's very topical here, we'd mentioned applying, to find out what might be the challenges in your application. We do offer a free SBA review. As I mentioned, both Adam and I have a background in SBA lending. Adam is very much still active in that scene. And so we kind of offer a free SBA expert review. So you can check out our website. That's linked down below as well. You can share a little bit more about your kind of deal or your kind of application situation, and you'll get Adam's kind of 2 cents directly on what he thinks your approval odds are, or some tips and things to try out. So you can check that out in the description. And yeah, I think that's it on that topic. So we'll see you on the next episode for another SBA Burning Question. Thanks.
Thanks.